So it's been about a week since I did my last transfer rumour video, and since then the Championship has absolutely exploded with some crazy transfer rumours which we will be discussing in today's video, guys. There are a couple especially which I'm really interested to get your guys' point of view on. So if you do go on to enjoy this video, make sure you do leave a like, it is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. I am very interested to get your guys' opinions on some of these transfer rumours, so make sure you do leave a comment in the comments down below as to what have you made of all the recent speculation currently going around the Championship. Also leave a comment in the comments down below if you've seen any transfer rumours which we failed to mention in today's video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at some of the rumours. And so we'll kick the video off by talking about the main rumour currently going around the Championship. That is Adel Taarabt, who's currently being linked with a move back to the Championship. Now, Taarabt's career in recent times has gone a little bit off the rails, really, you know, with people questioning his attitude. I think he put on quite a bit of weight a few years ago as well. He's not had a look in at Benfica since he signed for them in the summer of 2015. He's yet to make a first team appearance for them, which is absolutely crazy. Most of the time he's been playing for either Benfica's B team or he has had a couple of loan spells out to Genoa. But we'll talk about Adel Taarabt for a bit, because back in the day for QPR in the Championship, he was an absolute world beater. He signed for QPR from Tottenham for a fee of around about £1 million after he had had an initial loan spell, and in the 2010/11 season, Taarabt was absolutely untouchable in the Championship. That year he was able to score 19 goals and pick up 21 assists, and in my opinion that was probably the greatest individual season we've seen from any player ever in the Championship. If you guys disagree with that, let me know down below. Do you think there ever has been a better individual season than Adel Taarabt had for QPR in the 2010/11 season? From midfield, scoring 19 goals and getting 21 assists, no one could get near him. His skill and agility on the ball was absolutely unrivaled in the Championship. Obviously that season QPR did go on to get promoted, and then after that, stepping up to the Premier League, that's when things slowly started to go wrong with Taarabt's career, really. He had a few fallings out with the manager Neil Warnock at the time, couldn't really settle in at the Premier League. He only managed to score 2 goals that season. I think he got into quite a few arguments with some of his QPR teammates as well, and the player who Taarabt ended up being at the end of his time at QPR was an absolute shadow of his former self from the season he had in the Championship, when he really did burst onto the scene as an upcoming youngster. And I think questions have been asked of Taarabt, and rightly so, of his attitude and application. If he did, you know, have his head properly screwed on, Taarabt could have become an absolute world beater. He was a young player back in the day in the Championship when he was playing for QPR. The sky was really the limit for him, but things didn't quite work out for him. I mean, this was what Harry Redknapp had to say about him while he was at QPR.
He played in a reserve game the other day, and I could have run about more than he did. So, no, I can't pick him.
Towards the end of his time at QPR, he had a couple of loan spells out, one to Fulham and one to AC Milan. Neither of them really worked out for him, and then obviously after that, he went and signed for Benfica, where he's still yet to make an appearance for them. But reports have been coming out lately that Taarabt apparently fancies a move back to England and back to the Championship. So the question I ask you guys is, would you like to see Adel Taarabt playing for your club? I think it's a hard one to answer, really, because I've not seen him in much action lately, and if he does have the application now and his head is probably screwed on, he wants to get back to playing first team football, the quality in Taarabt is absolutely undoubtable. Like, for example, if he was to make a move back to QPR, could you imagine sort of an attacking lineup of having Naki Wells up front and then behind him having a trio of Eze, Taarabt and Luke Freeman? That would do absolute bits in the Championship and would be absolutely amazing to watch. I really hope that Taarabt does get a move back to the Championship, just because it would bring a lot of drama to the Championship. I'd love watching him play once again. I would love to see it. I'd love to get your guys' opinions on this down below. But moving away from Taarabt for the time being and moving towards Aston Villa, we're now seeing them being linked with a move for Gary Cahill, the Chelsea defender. Honestly, I'm not sure if I can see this one coming off. Obviously, there is a bit of a connection here between obviously Gary Cahill and John Terry, Aston Villa's number 2. So maybe there is something in this one. Aston Villa do like sort of a high-profile signing now and again. But Gary Cahill, wages I do seem being a bit of an issue for this one. But as well as that, there is also Premier League interest in a player like Cahill. Now, centre-back is a position where Villa absolutely need to strengthen in the January transfer window. If Villa do look to strengthen this position in the January transfer window, I really could think Villa could go all the way this season. They are looking like a real force under Dean Smith at this point in time. It's just that this area does need tightening up. Can I see this one happening though? I'm not so sure. And sticking with Aston Villa for the time being, we're also seeing them being linked with a move for Romain Soyuz of Brentford. Now recently I don't think that Soyuz has had a particularly good season so far for Brentford, but you can probably say that about a lot of Brentford players so far this season. Fundamentally, there seems to be a lack of confidence there, and Soyuz is that sort of confidence player, so moving to Aston Villa may be a good move for his career. Obviously Dean Smith is a big fan of Soyuz. He worked with him at Walsall, then brought him over to Brentford, and so we could see him moving him over to Aston Villa. Last season in the Championship, we saw him score 4 goals and bring up 4 assists. He can play in a number of roles, can play as a number 10, can play as a deep line playmaker or as a defensive midfielder and as a box-to-box player. As a 27-year-old, would be a decent squad player, wouldn't be groundbreaking. And we're also seeing Villa being linked with the move for Carl Darlow of Newcastle United. Last week we spoke about them being linked with the move for Tom Heaton, but Darlow could be another option for them in the January transfer window. With Darlow not being involved in the picture at Newcastle currently, he could be seeing a move back to the Championship. I think it would be a good option, maybe a little bit costly, but I do think that Darlow is a very capable keeper. The season that he got promoted with Newcastle, he only conceded 28 goals that year and went on to keep 13 clean sheets in the Championship. So will be a very capable keeper, and once again another area that Villa really do need to look into strengthening. And another keeper currently being linked around the Championship is Kieran Westwood of Sheffield Wednesday. Now it's a bit of a dramatic situation around Westwood with Sheffield Wednesday. I believe he's recently been playing for the under-23s, and he's not played a game for the first team since I think December 2017, which is absolutely baffling to me. Probably on his day is one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, really. You know, the last time I saw him playing for Sheffield Wednesday, he was still absolutely brilliant for them. But so the whole situation with him being dropped around Wednesday is a bit, you know, a bit strange really, with Dawson coming in into the first team picture. But we could be seeing Westwood make a move to Leeds United. Obviously, Leeds are in desperate need of a goalkeeper in the January transfer window, in my opinion, and Westwood will be a very tidy bit of business. The Gillingham striker Tom Eaves is currently being linked around the Championship with Millwall, Preston, Blackburn Rovers, and a few Scottish clubs like Rangers and Hibs also said to be interested in his services. Now, for a club like Preston, this is just the sort of player that we're crying out for at the moment. We are in need of a few attacking reinforcements with the amount of players we got out injured at the moment, but standing at 6'4", he's that physical presence that we've lacked in our squad since the sale of Jordan Hugo last January, and it's no surprise to see a club like Millwall also being linked with the move for Eaves, with them being a few strikers short at the moment. His form in League One this season has been very impressive. In 17 starts, he's been able to score 13 goals, and like I said, that physical presence really would serve him well in the Championship, and if a move was to come off, I think he'd be a good option. A bit of a bizarre transfer rumour. We spoke about in the last one, Jermain Defoe being linked with the move to Sheffield United in the Championship, and apparently Wigan Athletic have also thrown their hat in the ring as being interested in Defoe for a loan deal in the January transfer window. Honestly, I can't see this one happening at all, really. I think that wages will be a major stumbling block for this deal, and it's looking likely that Defoe's probably going to end up somewhere in the Premier League like Crystal Palace in the window. As much as I'd like to see Defoe in the Championship, I can't see this one happening. And some news that Hull fans probably didn't want to hear about, that is that Jarrod Bowen is being linked with the move away from the club in the January window. It's come as no surprise, really. You know, Jarrod Bowen is an incredibly talented footballer. At the age he's currently at, he's been having a very good season with Hull despite them struggling near the bottom of the Championship. So far this season, we've seen him score 6 goals and picking up 3 assists as well. Playing out on that right wing, he's got absolutely deadly left foot. He's sort of like the Iron Robin of the Championship. Loves cutting on that left foot and just looking to bend it into the far post. Had a brilliant game a couple of weeks ago against QPR, scoring 2 goals and picking up 1 assist in that game as well. Fulham and Cardiff are both said to be interested in him, but losing a player of Bowen's quality would seriously jeopardise Hull's chance of survival coming the end of the season, in my opinion. Quite a high profile transfer rumour at the moment is Alexander Prijovic currently being linked with the move to both West Brom and Middlesbrough in the Championship. Now, there is quite a bit of Premier League interest in this guy, and it's no surprise to see why. His goal scoring record in the Greek Super League is absolutely fantastic. So far this season, he's been able to score 13 goals in all competitions. Last season, he was able to score 27, and being a Serbian international, standing at 6'3", you know, he'd fit into the way that Middlesbrough like to play football. I think it's fair to say he'd be quite a dominant physical striker for them, and so far this season, Middlesbrough haven't really found the #1 striker for them. You know, they've experimented with a few. Brett Sumberlonger played well at the weekend, but even he's been a bit hit and miss so far this season. Hugo's been in and out of the squad, not really been all too convincing at times, and Gested not brilliant this season either. So a move for someone like Prijovic could be a very good signing for them indeed. Do I see it happening though? I'm not sure. Like I said, there is Premier League interest in this guy. And speaking of transfers, we're also seeing Jay Rodriguez being linked with a move away from West Brom once again, with Burnley still said to be interested in the striker. Obviously, this was quite a big transfer rumour in the summer. Obviously, nothing ever came of it in the end, as he did stay at West Brom. And so far this season in the Championship has been doing very well. Formed a brilliant partnership with Harvey Barnes and Dwight Gale so far, already scoring 10 goals this season in the Championship and picking up 2 assists as well. He's really fit into this Darren Moore system. West Brom probably won't let Jay Rodriguez go on the cheap, but if the right offer does come in the January transfer window, he's more likely to go. Another player being linked to West Brom at this point in time is Andy King of Leicester City. We spoke about him a little bit in the last video when he was being linked with the move to Derby County. It is being said currently that Leicester will allow Andy King to go out on loan in the January transfer window, as he hasn't been getting much first team football this season, and the move to the Championship would make sense to him, and he'd be a decent loan sign for West Brom. And then to finish off the video, we're also seeing Leeds United being linked with a couple of wingers at this point in time. This is another position where I feel like Leeds could do with strengthening in the January transfer window if they are really going to push for automatic promotion towards the end of the season. The first player they've been linked to is Jermain Jermain Lenz, currently playing for Besiktas, previously of Sunderland. This doesn't really strike me as typical Bielsa signing. I think that Jermain Lenz is a player with a lot of quality out on that right wing, but it doesn't really strike me as a Bielsa type player because off the ball I don't see his work rate being there really, and so I'm not sure if he quite fit into this system. His wages would also be very high. He's 31 years old. He would come in, I think, initially on a loan deal and then with an option to buy at the end of the season, but like I said, I'm not sure he typically strikes me as a Bielsa type player. And we also saw Leeds been linked to winger Abai Gomez of Deportivo Alaves in the La Liga. I believe his contract expires at the end of the season, and so he would be available on a fairly cheap deal in the January transfer window. He's previously worked with Bielsa at Athletic Bilbao as well, and he does have a very impressive record in La Liga. Last season he was able to score 7 goals and picking up 6 assists as well, but there is said to be Premier League interest from Leicester City in Gomez, and so once again I don't see this one happening really. But guys, there you have it. There are all the transfer rumours which are currently going around the Championship. So what is your opinion on everything currently going on? Let me know in the comments down below. Tomorrow will be when my Championship Week 17 score predictions is coming out, so make sure you do stay tuned for that. But apart from that guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.